Hello everyone! So today we're going to draw something a little bit weird and wonderful. We are going to try and draw a banana octopus. You heard me correctly, a banana octopus. So I'm going to be using my Paper Chase marker pens here. They are, I don't know if they're quite a permanent marker. They do sort of smudge a little bit with water, but they're pretty water fast and they give a really good effect. We're not going to be adding, I don't think, any water to this design today, but we might be using some of these pencil colours as well, and some trusty old black marker pens. I'm going to start first with my pencil, and what we're going to do is get the basic curve of our banana. So my banana is going to be, I want to fill up the whole page so this doesn't look, boring. I'm going to stop the end of my banana a bit higher up than the end of the page, and it's going to curve back around in a nice rounded shape going all the way up here. So it's just got a gentle curve. It's not a very dramatic curve. I've got that basic design in pencil. Okay, so we're good to go. Now what's going to be super weird about this banana is that when it gets down the end and the skin starts to peel, I'm just going to get that stalk in there. When the skin starts to peel, it's going to become tentacles. And that's how it's going to look like an octopus. So it's going to come about halfway down. We're going to start adding some eyes. So I'm going to have one eye that's coming out the side. This is going to be very weird. One eye is coming out the side over here. And another eye kind of in the middle of the banana. So nice, big, round, black eye. Now I'm going to give a line around it where it's going to look like a little crease, and let's do a little crease in here as well to show his face. Another little upwards curve there, and let's have another little line just underneath that eye. Now after this is where it's going to start to get really freaky, and we're going to add our tentacles. So let's have a little curve underneath what looks like almost like a mouth here. Let's make it like a little V shape. Curve each one of those tops of the V, and then from the bottom of the V we're going to come out and start adding our tentacles. So one, it's going to come off over here and it's going to curl around. Then let's go back to where the eye is. We're going to leave a little lump under the eye, and then it's going to follow on around this same line and come to a point. I'm going to go back in for the underside of that, and it's going to stop just behind the flesh part of the banana. Now this other curl, we're going to bring it down, and he is going to go into a little wavy line as well, still within the middle of the banana, not too long, and then following back up that line going to about there-ish. Okay, now we're going to have one tentacle that's going to show from poking out behind. We're not going to be able to see all 8 tentacles, but we'll try and get a few of them in. So this one is going to be curving around. And then I'm going to show the underside of that as well. So that has another line there. Let's get a nice big tentacle coming down here. So go back up to where this one was, coming out in a big old curve. Flicking out there, and then following that line back in and around to about there-ish. And I'm also going to show the underside of this one, so I'm going to give that extra double line, and I think I'm going to show the underside of this one a little bit too, so following that around. Now let's try and do another one showing here like it's tucking behind, coming out from the top of this banana, going around and behind. I feel like maybe we could get a couple more in. Let's bring one out from over here. And this one looks like it would be going behind the others. And then show the underside of that as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Stuff it. Let's try get them all in. Right. Let's do number 7 over here. Just a little bit poking down. And let's do 8 coming out from behind. That's going to blend in with that one too much. Let's do it kind of over to this empty space, because otherwise it's not going to be seen. Okay. What do you think so far? I think that's pretty weird. I like weird. Right. I think we can go ahead and start using our black marker pen now. I'm going to use quite a nice chunky one to just get this nice fat outline. So I'm going to come down to where my eye is. I'm going to leave a little bit of a bump. And this is where the eye is here. Now I want to make sure that not all of my eye is coloured in, because I want it to look like the light is hitting it in a couple of places. So I'm leaving some little white specks. We have a curve like that. Let's go around this eye here. That's still looking fairly circular. Now because I can see more of this eye, I'm going to leave much more white space showing. That extra curve in. And one under the eye. And let's get these tentacles in. I'm going to use the fat black markers for the top part of my tentacles, you'll see, and then I'm actually going to use one of my thinner ones to do the underside, because I want a bit of pattern to be in those. So these top parts are going to be what's yellow, and it will look like the banana peel. And then the part underneath, this part and this part is going to show like it has some little, almost like suckers, like a true octopus. You'll see that in a moment. Let's outline the flesh of the banana. Okay. Now I'm working quite quickly here, but you can take as long as you need to get this just right. The trick is to have all of these kind of tucking behind each other so they look like a real tangled up octopus with lots of tentacles. So everywhere where I'm outlining in this thick black, these will be the yellow parts of the peel. Okay, and the last part that's going to be yellow is this bit here. I think that's all of those areas. And I might just do a few little lines coming down the banana here, just to sort of give a little bit of texture. I might do some with my thinner liners as well in a minute. Just getting a few fat lines in there. And I'm going to do one big line coming down from the middle, because bananas are sort of in segments, aren't they? And let's get that stalk in. I'm just going to do my stalk with sort of some lines, so there's still some white showing. Can you see that over there? Now I want to just show a little bit more texture on my banana skin, so I'm going to just flick in from the edge. Just very lightly lifting up my pen, flicking inwards. It's just always a bit more interesting if you can add some texture somewhere there. Okie doke. So I'm switching now to a black fine liner just to get the underside of that banana peel or octopus tentacles in there. I just want to make them look 3D, so they've got the top side and the underside. A couple of extra lines running down my banana and some little extra creases above the eyes. So I'm going to rub out all the pencil to make sure that it's well and truly nice and clean. Now I'm just testing these yellow markers on the front there of my pad just to make sure I've got the right shade. Now these markers are really nice because they have a thick end that I'm using here and a thinner end for a little bit more detail, and they have a really nice uniform amount of colour. I am using watercolour paper here, which always seems to be a little bit less streaky even when using something like a marker pen. It's not just for watercolours that it's useful. But as you can see, it almost looks like it's been painted on. It just all blends in and you don't see any of the pen streaks there at all. So I'm choosing 3 colours there as well for the underside of the tentacles. And I'm going to be adding these almost like little donuts. I wanted them to look a bit like little suckers on his tentacles. I'm not even sure if that's quite how a real octopus would look, but I think this isn't the most realistic drawing in the world, let's face it. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that texture down there just to make it more interesting. So I'm just doing a circle with a smaller smirkle. What? That's not even a word. A circle with a smaller circle on the inside. Or you could call a smaller circle a smirkle. That's a good word. And then I'm putting them really close to each other so they're touching and filling up pretty much all the gaps only on the underside of that peel. So this took a little while, took me a few minutes to just fill that in. So I've got a really light orange and I'm just going along some of the edges just to make a little bit of, almost like a bit of shading on this banana here. So it would look like the light is hitting wherever it's yellow, and the shaded areas would be where it's a bit more orange. I've done a little sort of V shape between his eyes so it looks a bit more furrowed. And just at one edge of each of the tentacles. Now for my little smirkles over here, I'm using a bright green, like a lime green, to fill in the outer sort of rim of the donutty shape. And then I'm going to be using a bright turquoise blue and a lighter turquoise and a lighter blue, to fill in all the remaining spaces. So this part is relatively straightforward and easy, but it just takes a little bit of time because you are just trying to really make sure that you keep inside of those nice, neat lines. Another thing you could do is maybe just do lots of little dots on the underside if you wanted to give that kind of tentacled effect, just to create some little speckly bits. But this was quite relaxing. So just filling in all of those little circles there with some really bright turquoise in the middle. And then when I've done that, all the little remaining gaps I'll fill in with light blue. As I said, I really love these pens. If you can get hold of them, they're from Paper Chase. I think they were about 12 English pounds or £12.50 or something, and they are remarkably good quality. So just really dotting really carefully those small spaces. I'm not actually doing much in the way of pen strokes, just dotting those tiny little gaps. So I'm just using a little bit of a very, very light yellow watercolour pencil, and I did just add a little bit of water to this just to give a uniform colour on the banana. I mean, you could even leave it white or colour it in with pencil colours. So here it is, the finished product. I'm really pleased with this. I might do some more little freaky things like this. And this is another one of my tutorials, how to draw Toad from Super Mario, or you could try out my Cat's Quick Draw. There's also plenty more projects over at carlyart.org, and please do like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching, everybody.